What if I told you we have an animal on our planet that can use echolocation to have near X-ray vision? What if I told you we have an animal on our planet that helps its fellow sick and injured members? What if I told you we have an animal on our planet that gives themselves their own unique names? You might be wondering what creature I'm referring to. Dolphins. This is Rambo, a dolphin rescued by the amazing people at Dolphin Project, an organization I hope to raise money and awareness for. Rambo is just an example of one of 100, if not thousands, of dolphins who have been kept in cruel, captive conditions for the sake of our entertainment. Dolphin Project helps rescue, rehabilitate, and if possible, release dolphins back into their natural habitat. My quest is to help the Dolphin Project. Ever since I can remember, I've always been curious about life that lay below the ocean surface. I've always wanted to become more educated in one issue I've never stopped hearing about: dolphin slaughter. When I found out just how bad the dolphin situation was for dolphins in captivity, I felt sympathy for the creatures, but 10 minutes later, I wasn't even thinking about it. How could I forget something so drastic so quickly? It's almost as if we can be introduced to an issue that can be downright awful, and in some cases even directly affect those close to us. And as much as we hate to admit it, we forget. We might sympathize with people or animals that are affected by this issue, and yet we are so quick to move on and forget about it. This was something I knew affected nearly everyone. Let me ask you this. Are you going to remember what I'm saying right now in 10 minutes? Think about it. If the answer is no, that's completely normal, and I would do the same. However, just because it's something we all do, doesn't mean we can't prevent ourselves from doing it. Why should I care? This is a completely understandable question to ask, as the mistreatment of dolphins doesn't necessarily affect most people. But this is why you should care. Dolphins are so intelligent to the point it makes me believe they're some of possibly the most interesting and unique animals on the planet. Why are we choosing to ignore the slaughter of one of the most one-of-a-kind creatures on the planet? Even if you don't like dolphins as animals, you can't ignore the pain and suffering they experience. In dolphin shows, they are horribly exploited and kept in chlorinated pools, causing them to go blind and lose their teeth. Even if they are released after being a part of a dolphin show, they still can't survive on their own without their eyes or teeth, meaning they'll have to be put in specially built pens just to survive. But at the very least, this is a step closer to their natural habitat. It's strange because we can learn so much about people or animals and suffering. Once it's finished, we can completely forget and move on. But the issue that was presented continues to be an issue. We don't seem to fully understand that once we stop thinking about it, it doesn't stop. It's a total out of sight, out of mind attitude. This is something I really want to emphasize. How will we ever be able to fix an issue if we can't even keep it in our minds? I'll never and still can't understand the pain that a captive dolphin lives through. But what I do know is that they are in some terrible living conditions, and we're just standing by and watching. You've probably seen a few images of dolphin shows before, and a recurring theme in all of them is the dolphin's famous smiles. At first glance, this dolphin looks incredibly happy. But please, do not be fooled by this. This is the dolphin's constant expression. They can smile through the worst of pains there is. The dolphin's smiles must be one of the cruelest illusions on Earth. This is a clear as day example of anthropomorphism, something humans always do, putting our own emotions onto animals who express them in completely different ways. Dolphins can quite literally smile when faced with imminent death, and this is because it's not the same smile we know as humans. A lot of people aren't aware of this, leading them to believe that they're watching happy, well-treated dolphins also could be living through immeasurable sadness and pain. That is why I believe it is imperative to try and inform anyone we know who might not be aware of this. The dolphin's constant smiles could be possibly one of the biggest factors to play into the success of dolphin show companies as a whole. They can so easily exploit this beautiful novelty that dolphins have, and the fact that they can profit so easily off of downright torturous treatment is horrible. Why is something so horrifying so easy to ignore? We all need to understand that dolphins are some of the most majestic, unique, vibrant creatures in the world. How can dolphin show companies afford to purchase one of the most incredible creatures on the planet for upwards of $150,000, but they can't even afford to provide them with decent living conditions? And it's not only dolphin shows that are the problem. Dolphins face other huge problems. The town of Taiji alone kills 22,000 cetaceans every year, the majority of them being dolphins. But we can't ignore the other cetaceans, like whales. I believe the killing of whales in certain places goes even more ignored and unacknowledged by people. Some of you may already know this, but Norway actually kills tens of thousands of dolphins each year. You would think an issue like this would improve over time, but since 2018, Norway has increased their hunting quota for whales by 30%. And they're doing this despite falling demand for whale meat. Can we all just take a moment to reflect on how ridiculous this is? Not only do they choose to ignore the international whaling ban, but they choose to try and increase whaling in their country despite falling demand. Next time you stumble across something that is clearly treating these beautiful animals completely unethically, you should just think to yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth the 30 minutes of dolphin show entertainment? Is it okay that dolphins are killed as fishing bycatch? Is it worth the 5 minutes of happiness and a photo to see a dolphin in a zoo for infinite sadness and pain? This is a photo of Lake Batur. It may not look very big from all the way up here, but once you go to the Street View on Google Earth, you get a much better idea of the size. It's a bit misty, but you get the picture. Last year, I swam 7.5 kilometers across Lake Batur to raise money for the local scholarship program. I swam with some adults who encouraged me and supported me to finish my 3-hour swim. What I would come to learn after doing this was how much attention you can draw to an issue when you give yourself a challenge. I needed to challenge myself. I knew the more kilometers I swam, the more heads would be turned. Swimming across Lake Batur was one of the most challenging things I've done. I had almost no experience with long distance swimming, and I'd only really ever trained in swimming pools. I was totally out of my area of expertise, making it even more challenging than it already was. But after doing this, I decided I needed to challenge myself again, this time to raise awareness for the plight of dolphins in captivity. Originally, I thought one of the best things to do was take a boat around 8 to 10 kilometers offshore in Ahmed, North Bali, and swim all the way back in. However, after COVID-19 restrictions, I was unable to do it, and before I knew it, I wasn't even in Bali anymore. At this point, I had no idea what I was going to do. What would become of my quest now that I'm unable to do my swim? How was I going to raise money? After a few stressful days, I realized there maybe was a lake somewhere near where I was that I could swim across. And sure enough, not far from where we were staying, was Lake Illawarra, a 10-kilometer lake. And again, from up here, it's hard to get a sense of scale, so let's go down to the street view. Google Earth image quality isn't great, so let's get a look at the real street view. In the lead up to the swim, I'll be encouraging people to get active about dolphins in captivity. I've been training hard in the past weeks, going down to the beach to swim in painfully cold water, and I know this is something I have to do if I truly want to make a difference. With COVID-19 restrictions lifting, I should soon be able to do the swim. I hope you will follow my progress and support the dolphins. Get active, get informed, and don't go to dolphin show companies, and please support organizations like the Dolphin Project. I'll be swimming, not for me, but for the dolphins. Thank you. I would also like to give a huge thank you to Edu, Chris, Carol, Adrian, and Simon for all encouraging me to do my swim and inspiring me to do this project in the first place. I would also like to give a special thank you to my mentor, Pak Andre, for supporting me throughout my whole quest.